Welcome to Donut Donny's Retro channel. Today we are looking at another retro classic. Hello everyone, Donut Donny here. Welcome to another episode in the Football Management Retro series. We're in for a corker for this episode because this one is a very controversial game or games that were released just before the 1986 World Cup. Originally, I was going to put these two games as two separate episodes, but because of the story and because they're so alike, I've decided to put them both together. It makes perfect sense putting them both together. Now, again, I must warn you, this game will probably not have much actual gameplay because one, there's not really much to see, and two, I'm simply not really good at it. Um, and also, we will probably talk more about the storyline between these two games and the reviews and everything like that. We will go into both games, obviously, but for this episode, and probably just this episode alone, we won't actually talk, we won't actually see much gameplay because of, well, you'll see in a minute why. I have played both games and I am terrible at playing them. This is a very poor version of Match Day 1 and 2, but that is half the story. But it all started back in 1984, 2 years before the World Cup was even thought of, the 1986 World Cup in Mexico, even before England have even qualified for the 86 World Cup. Um, and Scotland. I think Scotland qualified for the 86 World Cup as well. So this is World Cup football, obviously, done in 1984 by Arctic Computing Limited. This is on the Spectrum Computing website where I always go. 9 players, so this is a good game for many players. You can use it on your joysticks and stuff like that. It was a turn-based soccer game. This was a full price game in those days, £6.95. It was available on the Amstrad Commodore, Commodore Plus 4. Never heard of that. You can see there the remarks, what's going to happen. We'll talk more about that later. So what we're going to do, we're going to go straight to the review, and this is from Crash Magazine in 1984. So since Kevin Toms and Addicted Games provided how popular football game sims can be, there have been several contenders for the cup. Most concentrate on the strategy angle, only management team. Only once has a game been realistically released, which is actually a graphical representation, and that was Star Soccer. No longer available. That's probably why I've never heard of it. Now Arctic have released World Cup. This game has no strategy or element, no selection of players, or according to their strengths, skills. Yeah, you get the gist. It's just a simple match day clone, match day 1, match day 2 clone. Um, this is so the review in 1984. Compare this to the review of the next game in 1986. You can see it weren't happy, and I will use a crash review for the next game as well. So let's go straight to it, the criticism. World Cup is an interactive game, nowhere near as involved as Football Manager when it comes to strategy and decisions, but it does have players' involvement in matches, and is the only one, as far as I know, for Spectrum which you actually move and control the players. So this might be made before match day, maybe. The graphics are quite good. Yeah, no, they're not. And the game is reasonable. The actual football play is okay, but not up to the standards such games have machines. Nevertheless, it makes a good two-player game. Yeah, probably does make a two-player game. But if you look at the graphics, I guess it's 1984. I'm expecting too much of the graphics being amazing. There's been plenty of football games before, but you never know, never be able to join in the fun properly before an actual game. This game you can play part of the entire team. So this may be the first game where you can actually control players on the pitch. So, okay, let's do it justice. This is maybe before match day, so this can't be a match day clone because match day was made after this. But the next game clearly is. Um, so what was the overall comment? So you can see the screenshots there. So the graphics are not amazing. You either play in white and black, and you're mostly in white, I must stress to you. Sound very good. It has got very good music, but it can get quite irritating. I will let you guys hear it for a little while anyway, but I will turn it off eventually because it keeps going on and on and on. Um, it was a very original game in 1984 because this is the first time again you can actually control players around the field. The general above average, so 71%, which is quite surprisingly good. So let's go straight into it. I'll show you a quick a minute or two of the actual game. Again, I'm expecting this episode to be quite short because we'll go down the nits and bits of the next game, which is linked to this, and the storyline of that. So obviously we will open my emulator up, which is already open. I'll now load it up for you, and you will hear the storyline. Now, I'm not going to play this game too often because I'm hopelessly awful at this, and I don't want to be embarrassed. But just take a visual representation of this screen, and you'll see what we're going to get at of the storyline of 2 years later, 1986. So here you've got the keyboard, the comes and joysticks, Sinclair standard. You can go into World Cup straight away, or you can go into practice mode. I've been in practice mode. I'm still hopeless, but I will just play one game maybe, or and get completely. You can, yeah, I'm useless at this. So I'll show you what a World Cup is. You press 4 then, so we'll stick to keyboard. Now the keyboard, that's another thing in this game. It's made it was made for two people to play on the keyboard at the same time. So the keys I'm using for player one is look just look at your keyboard and I'll tell you what the keys are. It's strange. The number one is up, Q is down, A is left, S is right, and then V, or caps lock, I think it is kick. So I am very restricted in my movements here, so I have to work out how to do this because I'm using both hands and it's very crowded on the left hand side of the keyboard here. But anyway, let's go to World Cup. Number of players, so we're just going to have one. And then you can choose any team, which is a good list of team here. Obviously, for this case, I will be England. Oops, England. Enter. There we go. Sound. So these are the first team qualifiers. This is completely random. So you've got England, Brazil, Germany, Argentina, Scotland, Italy, Holland, Austria, Spain, France, Australia, Finland, Wales, Ireland, USSR, and Zaire. So Ireland, Wales are in this. And this is always random, as I noticed. You press enter to continue. And so England get Wales. So this is going to be Wales beating us. Here's the sound. Now, I was going to speak, but you probably can't hear me. Right, I've turned the sound off because that keeps going and keeps going. Now, I just want you to take notice of I'm trying to get the football off them. I'm in white, by the way, and ah, there you go. I got the ball. I got the ball, but the kick key is so far away from my hand. It's a bit uncomfortable, and I can't use the joystick because the joystick is just no. Well, I can use the joystick. There we go. The goalies are awful. Now, I just want you to bear in mind of the screen here, how it looks. Again, look at the menu and look at the screen, and this explains why this game and what happened 2 years later is so controversial. But again, I'm not going to show you much of this game because there's really not much to see. You just progress to the World Cup final, and also I'm hopelessly awful at this. As you can see, I'm struggling to get the ball, and the goalies, they only do one. They don't save. They just do one or two kicks. So look, oops, I nearly got the ball there, which is an achievement. I can't even do a goalie save. The goalie just runs with the ball. It's not very good. But this is 1984. Oh, I've got the ball. I've got the ball. Look at this. I'm charging. Oh, how can they suddenly be a lot faster at running than me? Oh, I did have the ball. But anyway, that's enough. I'm not going to show any more of that. So we go now 2 years later. Picture the scene. It's 1986, the year of the Mexico World Cup. England have qualified. And the storyline is this, and I'll read what it says in the remarks because it basically describes it. This is from the Spectrum Computing Site. This game was a fiasco since US Gold basically re-released the ancient Arctic game World Cup football, which we've just seen, at twice the price. According to The History of US Gold by Chris Wilkins, at the time Ocean knew something about football with John Rittman's Matchday. So Matchday was released now. So Matchday is now in the past. So Woods and Ward said to Jeff, look, football games are really hard. Let's us do this. We'll get a World Cup game for you and we'll use our Matchday code. So far, so good. Anyway, something happened there, and theoretically, Ocean were going to go away and develop the game. 3 months before the World Cup, so this is March, April time 1986, we were so busy I hadn't given it much thought, so the game wasn't even gone through the planning stage. So I asked Jeff if he'd seen anything of the game from Ocean, and he said, no, I'll call them up. Oh, this is the guys wanting the game from Ocean and US Gold guys, I guess. And Ocean, and they hadn't anything back from Ocean yet. So he said, no, I'll call them up. He phoned to learn that they've done nothing on it. So we had this license, we had the World Cup coming, and we said, shit, we need a game. That's when we went out to every single developer in the UK. Arctic were the only one who came forward, and they said they could do it in time. It was basically Arctic's 1984 game revamped with a few things with it. So basically, a few little subtle changes on the game, which you'll see in a minute. But with this game, you got like this running screen. This was nothing like it, by the way. So that's the inlay. So you got all these little, you had a box of the game and you had all these little extras in. These are it was clearly advertised for the World Cup. People want to, it's the World Cup, they want to play games and all that. So you get the World Cup League table, you get a competition to enter. First prize, a combat disc player. Wow. 50 runners at prices of US Gold game cassettes. Wow. You get a picture sheet of you know, but the thing is, this never appeared in the game. Well, the game version I had anyway on the Spectrum never had this. It had a World Cup facts poster. This is all 1986. World flags of all the countries that qualified. Really good. Northern Ireland qualified then. Scotland, England, obviously. France, Germany, West Germany in those days. The advertisements, all this came out to promote this game. So, what would the reviewers think? Now we go to Crash Magazine again to make it only fair, because Crash did the 1984. Oh, I noticed it was the Union flag there. That's wrong. That should be the English flag, so that's wrong. I just noticed that because it's got the Scottish flag there, and it's got the Northern Ireland flag, but it hasn't got the England flag. It's the Union flag. That's wrong. Ooh, that's a bit of a clanger. But we'll go back to the review. We'll go back to Crash Magazine. Now, they obviously reviewed the game back in 1986, and what would they think of this? Now, let's just bear in mind, this game is virtually the same game done in 984. Virtually the same game. When we quickly have a look at it in a minute, you'll see there's only subtle differences. So we go to Crash Magazine. So I'm not expecting a good review here. So we'll go to full page to give you a good idea, and let's make the screen a little bit bigger for you so you can read it at the same time as me. So remember, this was released full price, £9.95. So, the release of World Cup Carnival coincides very nicely with this year's Mexico World Cup. Unlike the real thing, this game is played by two players who compete against each other or by one player against a computer. The program, which also allows up to 9 players to select teams from a list of 24 World Cup candidates. The game begins with players running to the field and 1/3 of the pitch is on screen at one time, scrolling sideways as players run down towards the goal. You only have control of the nearest player, the ball, and he changes colour. Does he? A practice match option so you can have a dummy run before going on to the real thing. The complete package includes all sorts of World Cup memorabilia. Yeah, you got tons of stuff with it. Wall charts, stickers. There's no strategy involved, and players cannot be allocated to positions according to their skills. The computer sorts it out. The only thing you need to worry about is controlling players and trying to score goals, which, as you can see in the previous game, I wasn't very good at. Now, the criticism. Here we go. World Cup Carnival is an appalling game. It's a disgrace to see a big software house like UK Gold releasing it. The layout of the football pitch is as basic as you can get. No centre circle, no penalty area, no 6-yard box, no supports for the goals. The graphics are very bad with the footballers who look out in place in one of the first Spectrum games. Yes. Now this is 986, so we can say it looks awful now. The clock counts down and not up. Yeah, I noticed that, which is very confusing, and the teams don't even swap around for extra time. US Gold have struck to the bog standard Spectrum character set. I could find any music to listen to, I couldn't find any music to listen to, even though there was an on and option. Okay. All I can say about this is the game. There's a nice whistle effect, and the packaging is great. The game is awful. Avoid at all costs. Yes. I have to say there is music on this game, which is which is definitely improvement on many other games. Other criticism: this is the worst simulation I've ever seen. Worst football simulation. Playing the game is too easy unless you happen to have a colour TV or monitor. When the colours used are very bright and eye strain colours after a few games. Controlling your man is not difficult. Oh, I did find it difficult. I wish they could redefine keys. Although sometimes the computer's choice of the man nearest the ball is a little strange. The graphics are very poor. The players only have 2 stages of animation and there are many bad attribute problems. The players are a bit better. Attribute problems, yeah. The players are a bit better. Sound is poor. If you're lucky, you might hear the odd whistle. On the whole, I wouldn't be too happy if I forked out £2 for this one, let alone a tenner. The pack of World Cup makes it up for a little, but it's not enough for me to recommend it anymore. And again, the last review, we're reviewing the reviews because there's not going to be much gameplay. Not exactly a mega game this, it's in fact not much of a game at all. The game itself is substandard, but all the freebies are quite good. But then they have to be, because I don't think many people will buy the package for the game itself. Oh, God. Maybe football freaks will enjoy it, but I can't see anyone flipping over it. The colour is literally quite helpful, but when the clashes start making the players disappear, things get out of hand. Yeah, I did notice that. Overall, it's not an awful game. USGO have made a lot of World Cup deal with all the accompanying bits, but the game itself, yeah. So you get some nice stuff with the game package, but the game itself is awful. So, what did the comments? Remember, got 77% in the last review. Use of colour, severe clashes, graphics far from state of the art, sound, pardon, question mark. Skill levels 1, screen, scrolling window, jump rate, nice freebie, shame about the recycled 2-year-old game, 26%. It's dropped down from 70 odd to 26%. That is terrible. So we'll go and have a quick look at the game. It's going to be very quick because there's really not much more to see than the first one. So we will load this one up, World Cup Carnival. Here we go. So with the game, this is normal speed, so the loading screen's gone. So here you notice instead of all white, it's all in black. The additional options here is training. Training is the only additional option here. You can go around training. There's training and there's also practice. So we will see what training and practice, if there's any difference between the two. Training should be, yep, there's no sound. There's no do 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 do. So you can see the only difference here is the advertising banner. And it's got Mexico 86 US gold on it. So again, I'm going to try to play this badly. Oh, there's a... and yeah, it's just a carbon copy, isn't it? This is training, so I don't know what the difference between training and practice is, to be honest with you. So what we're going to do, we're going to load it again because it's much quicker. So we're going to try practice now. Ah, okay. This is the only difference. And you can see is in practice mode, you actually got it a little different screen written by someone else. Taking penalties, ball control, because I think that's what I need. Ah, so this is where this screen comes from. It comes from the practice. Why, oh why, does the ball go up in the air? I do not know. Taking penalties. Oh my God, it's like Dave Thompson Decathlon. You have to press the ANS key and then kick it. The thing is, this is completely useless because when you play the game, the graphics are completely different and you don't press the ANS key to run up and kick the ball. So I think the game's crashed. No, it hasn't. So yeah, I'm pressing the A and S key to run up here, and then pressing the V. You've missed the ball. The thing is, this is nothing in the game. You don't do this in the game. This is similar to match day. So why do they do a practice mode, which is awful by the way, which is not even linked to the game itself? It's like this is complete. This is like a different game within the game, if that makes any sense. Yeah, that is a bit of a surprise. So anyway, let's go straight to the World Cup. So four, identical screen again. Okay, the only difference here is that you've actually got team colours, which is good. So obviously we're going to choose England, and it actually gives you the straight to the quarterfinals, England. So no group stage games at all. So slightly different. England against Brazil. So the only I guess the only differences here is the obviously it's a sponsorship banner and also the sides and their team colours up here. Other than that, the game is exactly the same as it was 2 years ago in the Arctic version. So we're just gonna, there's the whistle. So okay, the player changes colour when you know it's that's the player you're controlling. So obviously it's going to be this player. Oops, I'm using the wrong controls. That's what I'm doing. Ah, these controls are terrible. Or I'm terrible. Well, it's exactly the same game. Exactly the same game, just with a mini facelift. So let's get my hand on the keyboard, making sure I know what I'm doing this time. The goalies just don't do anything. So yeah, you saw that practice mode. There's nothing on that practice mode that matches this, is there? Completely. What's my goalie doing? Don't go over there. My goalie. So in the Arctic game, you start in the group stages. In this game, you go straight to the quarterfinal. But there we go. I've actually managed to kick the ball. There we go. Kicking the ball now. But I can't tackle. There's no tackling feature in this. You're just running after the ball. Match day is so much better than this. Again, I can actually say match day is better because match day came out before this. There you go. I'm running after the ball. Nope, still can't do it. So I suppose if I was patient enough, I'll probably get used to what I need to do. And that's a throw in. Throw in is just kicking the ball into the pitch, not even to one of your players. Look at this. Look at this. I'm actually doing a decent run now. Oh, got it. Oh, no. Usain Bolt's beat me to it. He is much faster than me, or any Olympic runner is much faster than me at the moment. Oh, I got the ball. Yeah, I'm against the Olympic champion. That's why I keep saying Usain Bolt, because he's so much faster running than me. I'm so slow at this. Well, my players are slow, so at least I'm having a good old, yeah, those throw-ins, a good old attempt trying to play this time. Oh, I can't tackle, and the throw-ins and the goal keeps are just random. Well, the goalie does not exist, full stop. But I'm keeping it 0-0. Yeah, the throw-ins are awful. The throw-ins just a kick down the centre of the pitch. See, there we go. You meant there's no sort of animation about trying to throw the ball. For a 1986 game, this is awful. Even for when it came out in 1984, there it was questionable. But you have to say the 1984 version, at least it was unique because it was the first game which you could control all your players. Now, I've noticed in this version of the game, it's got the half time up there, and also you are playing different ends. So that's an improvement on the 1984 version. So they have done a few alterations, Arctic, to make it a bit more better in 1986. But after saying that, there's just basic sound. There's no music on this version. There was music on the 1984 version, maybe copyright issues that they couldn't use it. But if the game people made it themselves, they shouldn't have that problem. There's definitely a clash. If I put my player close to their player, they suddenly both our players disappear. There's no improvement on the graphics, only a few slight alterations. Um, Other than that, Yeah, it's a bit of a shambles, isn't it? That they literally released the game 2 years later. Oh, we're going to lose this. 2 years later, and called it a new game just because what came in the box made people buy it. Um, so yeah, I'm not gonna play the rest of this because I'm probably gonna lose this. And it's the keyboard. It's not exactly comfortable on the keyboard on my hands playing this. Oh, it's goal kick. And goal kicks just random. I think the throw-ins, the goal kicks, and I don't even see a corner yet. It's just so random at this. Yeah, I'm not enjoying this game at all. Um, Look, we hit the post, I think, and the colour clash is awful. Yeah, so that is the story between World Cup Carnival and World Cup, the game that was basically re-released 2 years later, and it came with a lot of freebies, obviously, which a lot of people would love to have, the posters and the flags and everything like that. But then the game itself, if it did, if the if you didn't have all those freebies and you're just expecting to play the game, then you'd be so disappointed, especially as this game cost. Look at that, rings around the player. That's one way of me getting around it. It's just making rings around the defense. But look at this. It's just a one-man go. Is he gonna shoot? I'm gonna shoot. Shoots and he scores with 7 minutes to go. England have scored against Brazil. I've my first shot at goal. I think I've sorted how to get the ball around the attackers is just by going around in circles. I think that's the only way you can do it. So we will. Oh, the time is running down. Oh, yay! England have beaten Brazil by that one goal. Canada beat Algeria 4-0. Scotland beat Iraq 6-0. Semi-finals. Hold on, there's no Germany, Italy. Oh my God, it's very strange, isn't it? In Canada in the next round. So yeah, so that's the game. So it ends on the high of me. My only shot on goal was a 1-0 victory. So that will bring the end to that then. So that is the end of this game. So I'll reset this straight away. Yes. So that's it. That is the end of World Cup Carnival and World Cup by Arctic and US Gold and the storyline. Let me know if you had any memories of this controversial game and let me know if you ever played it. But yeah, go back on the internet. There's a lot more details about the storyline between these two games and what happened, much better than me explaining it. So yeah, if you're interested, go and do that. But that's it. That's the end of this very strange episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make comments, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye for now. What are your thoughts about this game? Please let me know in the comments. Many thanks for watching this video. Greatly appreciated. If you like this channel, please send me a like or subscribe.